Well, I guess a deal is a deal. Thank you so much for getting over 7,000 likes on last week's episode of Choose Your Own Adventure. I am so eternally grateful, and now I look incredibly stupid. So thank you very much for that. However, I do need to say something. I'm not going to be wearing this throughout the entire video because it will be way too distracting. And also, I can feel the paint drying on my forehead, and I'm worried that I might actually permanently have this on my skin, which I don't want. So I'm just going to transition away from that. But thank you again in about 3, 2, now.
Hello, you little demons. Jules here for WhatCulture.com, back again with another episode of the awesomely named and awfully hosted Choose Your Own Adventure, the weekly format with a medieval theme where I, Jules, the crown jewels of WhatCulture.com, take a list that is an idea that you have generated. Yes, you at home, the person who forgot to put the toilet seat down and your girlfriend fell into the toilet bowl last night. Yes, you are the ones that submit something for me to butcher each and every week. And today we have Don Guevara to thank for their idea of 10 ridiculously silly moments in otherwise serious games. And when you look around at the current state of the world right now, it can seem like things are a little bit dour and depressing. So it's quite nice when a video game saddles up to you, gives you a little elbow and says, "Here mate, have a chuckle on me." Especially when those games in question are usually quite serious. And sometimes it can be a case that it's meant to be there in order to elevate an otherwise very tense moment, or it could be used to punctuate an intensely grotesque moment that's coming shortly after that, subverting your expectations. And sometimes it can just be that they take themselves way too seriously and we end up laughing at them for how much melodrama they're trying to push. Either way, I'm having a chuckle. That's not how I laugh. I would never have a person touch me if I laugh like that. But still, let's get on with today's list, shall we? But before I do, I just want to say hello to me in the live chat over there. I'll be doing whatever it is I usually do, and also put your ideas for next week's episode down in the comment section below. But you know what? Let's start it out with something a bit different. I asked what your favourite Pokemon was last week. Don Guevara's one was Scyther. Big shout out to that. This time what do I want to know? I want you to start off with a knock-knock joke in order to keep with the theme of making each other laugh and spreading a little bit of levity in the proceedings. So yeah, let's get on with that list. Number 10, the Wild Wasteland perk, Fallout New Vegas. Now it's worth saying from the outset that the Fallout series is pretty funny and silly in places, but it's always done to sort of offset a very, very dark and grim tone. You've got jokes about cannibalism, about like horrible killing other people and doing unspeakable things to them, and also killing children, as we discovered last week was my favourite thing to do, at least in Skyrim. So take it with a pinch of salt. But should you choose to take the Wild Wasteland perk whenever you get the option to level up, you are in for an absolute treat, as this trait unlocks random crazy encounters that you can experience throughout your game, and to put it bluntly, most of these feel like a fever dream, and I love it. You can meet gnomes, aliens, have a pet deathclaw, see all sorts of pop culture references, and of course, Maud's muggers make an appearance. And they are a gang of old lady thugs who try to rob you. It is brilliant, and of course I bash them to death with a bit of rebar. Take that, Maud. No knitting circle for you. Bush! To be fair, I love this perk so much that I auto-include it in any build that I am doing. And if you want to experience the wildness of the wasteland, then there is no better way to spend time with Fallout New Vegas. Also, shout out, it is my favourite Fallout game. It's the best one, best written, aside from some dodgy voice acting, but that's with all Bethesda games. Great game. Number 9, Kojima's P problem, Metal Gear Solid. Right. It is definitely worth clearing up, as I did before with the Fallout franchise, that the Metal Gear franchise doesn't always take itself too seriously. Or maybe it does. It's hard to say sometimes with the amount of absolute guff that falls out of Kojima's bumhole and onto a page, and then he said that that was a script. He's heralded as a genius by most people. If you write that many words, some of them are going to be correct. Plus, Metal Gear Solid's approach to being the Bond game that never was meant that we also got all of those over-the-top moments that are about as subtle as a shotgun blast to the chest inside a megaphone factory. And yet there is one moment that will always make me piss myself, and that is when Otacon pisses himself. And while this moment is genuinely quite funny because he's pissed his keks in front of the cyborg ninja, it does actually lead on to a trail of other pistances that Kojima wantonly spread throughout his games. Dogs piss on you, humans piss on you, and in Death Stranding, you can weaponize your piss and other bodily functions. I'm starting to think that he's got a bloody piss fetish, but no kink shaming here. But we will shame Otacon for pissing his keks. Number 8, the Santa suit, Monster Hunter World. Okay, so I know I am explaining something again before I start the entry, but yes, with this amount of cat assistance, the Monster Hunter games, they're not really to be taken super seriously. However, the monsters that will chomp you like a curly whirly bar, they are something different. Do they have that in the States? Do they have that curly whirly bar? Yes, the fearsome foes that you fight are trouser-filling in their ferocity, but that doesn't mean that the aforementioned filled trousers need to be as dour as the dinos themselves, for you can dress your Monster Hunter up in some absolutely ridiculous gear. And while you can cosplay as everyone's favourite Witcher Big G, there is only one real outfit that you need to try, and that's the Orion outfit, because basically, it makes you look like Santa Claus. And the idea of Santa embarking on a different kind of sleigh is, and always will be, funny to me. Number 7, Ellie reads Bearskin magazine, The Last of Us. So in general, zombie games tend to veer towards a more serious tone, and that makes a lot of sense because A, you don't want to attract any attention whatsoever where possible, and B, it's very hard to laugh with your throat being ripped out. And while Dead Rising does exist, and I could talk about how that game's tone is all over the place, instead we're going to turn towards the pretty oppressive world of The Last of Us. Because in amongst all of these moments that will make sure that you never want to eat a mushroom again are moments of pure levity. And I'm not talking about those terrible puns, get off my porch, that's my gimmick. I'm talking about that one scene that plays out when Ellie and Joel escape and they start talking about a porn magazine. And it's not just any lewd magazine either, as the title reads Bearskin and contains a rather burly man front and centre. Joel expresses his fatherly horror at seeing Ellie holding such a piece of grot, but she happily reads it through anyway. And given all of the death and the turmoil that the pair go through, maybe this palate-cleansing moment is exactly what they need. Number 6, Jason! Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain contains child murder, crawling through broken glass, and cutting off pieces of your own body. In short, it is not somewhere that I would expect to get the biggest laughs of my lives, but here we are, and it all boils down to one word, and that word is Jason! 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 After your child, Jason, goes missing in a busy shopping centre, you're left shouting into the crowd to try and find him. And there's even a button to make your da scream for his wee bairn. Jason! But the problem is that this bastard only recorded 3 versions of it. Jason! So you're just constantly walking around trying to have a moment that is deadly serious because it's leading into an emotional point where Jason gets hit by a bloody car. But you're just laughing your ass off because you're just walking around yelling at people who are just kind of like, who's Jason? Jason! I'm not even going to react to this guy. He's a freak. Number 5, the Abstergo Challenge cheats, Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So unless you're Deadpool, assassination doesn't really carry with it a light-hearted nature. And as such, even though you can have a lot of fun in the Assassin's Creed franchise, they're meant to be taken pretty seriously. That is until you unlock the cheats in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, because, oh boy, there's something else. So how it works is the more challenges that you complete, the more cheats that you unlock. I mean, God, imagine that, unlocking cheats. Almost a forgotten relic by this point, isn't it? With these cheats, you can make Edward speak like a pirate at all times, and it culminates in you being able to turn all of your enemies into rabbits. You know, the thing that Ubisoft just took the design with and ran with it because apparently minion-esque things equal money, baby. But the thing is that I never found these Tiger King butt-tooth bunnies funny. However, I did squeal with laughter when I got to massacre them. And I've got to hand it to them, the dev team sure knew how to give people a good belly laugh. Number 4, Sigmar of Catarina's Narcolepsy, Dark Souls. Right, aside from the instant memery of this franchise, Dark Souls is a game that is not meant to be fun. I mean, everything just walks around looking like it's on a massive festival come down from all of the drugs, and every single one of these malnourished and greasy, grimy, horrible things wants to cave your head in. It's kind of like a night out in Gateshead. But in this miasma of suffering stands one lone jolly figure, and that is Sigmar of Catarina, who is so lovely that I just want to hug his rolls all night long. Not only is good old Sieg a happy-go-lucky fellow and always up for a pint, he somehow manages to make his habit of falling asleep literally everywhere completely charming. Almost all of the deadly areas of this game have a spot in which you can find him just having a quick nap. And it's brilliant because he's just doing that to wait for help to come along. He's just got there, given up, thought he'd just wait it out. Like he's waiting for roadside assistance when your car breaks down. Brilliant practice. I don't think it would pay the bills if I tried to use it in real life to just sleep through all of my problems. But for science, I'm definitely going to give it a try. Anyway, these moments of levity are sorely needed in a game that figuratively rams a handle up your arse and then uses you to bash in tent poles with. Number 3, the phone calls, Five Nights at Freddy's. So after you start looking into the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, and you should because it's actually surprisingly deep, and realise there's haunted animatronics, dead children, and just a whole sense of creepiness, you start to realise Five Nights at Freddy, pretty dark game, brother. But this is the thing, your horror experience hinges around you taking the game seriously, as in order to be scared, you have to consider a bunch of vaguely hilarious pizza place robots your worst nightmare. And trust me, they will be. That is, as long as you ignore all of the phone calls. Because you get one of these at the beginning of each night, and while these calls do reveal crucial information about your new robot enemies, they're also completely and unintentionally hilarious. And that's because the phone guy, as the internet have dubbed him, is just so blasé about all of this. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, so there's a problem with the suit, might kill you if you don't get out of its way or keep this door closed at all times, but don't worry about it, man, at least you get like discount for friends and family. Not worth it, pal. It's not fucking worth it. However, as it's the only person that you interact with in the whole game, you do form a strange sort of bond to the mysterious voice on the phone, which makes it all the more tragic when he dies to the exact same haunted animatronics on night 4. Rest in peace, weird phone guy. Thanks for the laughs. Number 2, God of War. God of War 2. It's Kratos in a fish suit. Moving on. I can't do any more than that, guys. That's pure comedy through and through. Oh, you want more, do you? You want more dance for your supper? Is that what it is? Well, I'll tell you what. Do your rap.
Hey, what up, boys? It's your man, Jules, a.k.a. Tommy 10 Hats. Gonna hit you with a sick few bars. Here we go.
God of War. Drowning in kills. God of War now dressed up in gills. Kick you in the spine. Curb stomp kisses. Better watch out. You'll be sleeping with the fishes.
You'll be sleeping with the fishes.
He's getting angry. Shout out to my homies in Wales. Yeah, I love Wales.
Better watch out. Or you'll be sleeping with the fishes. And number 1, Cole Phelps' anger issues. L.A. Noire. For a detective game that delves into some of the darkest murder cases in LA, L.A. Noire is so unintentionally funny that you almost feel bad for laughing at it. On the one hand, you've got things like murder, body disfiguration, sexual abuse. On the other side, you've got Cole Phelps being an absolute off-the-kettle mad lad. He is literally just like, "You did it! You did it! You're a cyborg! You're a cyborg!" He's mad. If you don't have the information that you need, by the way, I know I've just looked like I'm an absolute crazy person here. If you don't have the information or evidence to actually accuse your suspect properly, he will go off his absolute nut at them. He even includes one famous sentence where he accuses an old lady of murdering orphans. How they managed to get the actor to do that with a straight face is beyond me. But I'm so glad that it exists. And there we have it. Another episode of Choose Your Own Adventures. I hope that you enjoyed that, my friends. And please let me know what you thought about it down in the comments section below, as well as your suggestions for next week's episode. Because this is the thing. With us all together right now, we can build something great. We're steaming forward. Let's make sure that this situation that's going on at the moment does not impede our positivity. Which leads me to my final point. At this point in time, as I said before, it can be a little bit depressing. You're locked in, you feel shut off. I totally understand that. But as we proved today with today's list of having a bit of a laugh, taking a step back and just realizing that situations that might be overwhelmingly stressful are so close to comedy sometimes that you do just have to laugh or cry. And I'd rather that you did the former. So go out today, or stay in, as it were, with positivity in your hearts. Spread love to your fellow man. Make sure that you're building connections instead of breaking them online. Talk to your family. You're now there with them. Try and understand what they're going through, and they will show you the same respect. And the thing is as well, is that you deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do, no matter what time or trials that we're going through. So I hope that you are giving yourself a break and just having a laugh, okay? As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. And you can check out my board game channel, which is called Live and Let's Dice. It's very good. We're playing Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons at the moment. I hope to see you over there. As always, you have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.